Greetings, this is TK Trav, aka Travis Magus, here with LVX777. I didn't know if I wanted to title this video, How to Interpret Your Dreams, or my communication with Hekate. Because after I had my dream, and I was writing it down, and I was breaking it down, I get into the Facebook group, and I see a comment from one of the homies in the Magus Society, Khalid Henry, and he talks about how he was having a dream and asking what was the significance of having 3 females in the dream. So immediately to me that brought to mind the triple goddess, right? The maiden, the mother, and the crone. Or as Brother Panic said, what was it? The whore, the mom, and the granny, right? 3 aspects of the divine feminine. Well, recently I've been doing a lot of work with Hecate, who actually presents herself as the triple goddess, right? She's got 3 bodies attached to her in her avatar. She also has a lot to do with dogs and nighttime and magic as a whole, right? So basically, just to kind of go back a few steps, when you're interpreting your dreams, understand that the dreams are symbolic, right? This is the time where your subconscious mind is communicating to you. This is the time where your subconscious mind is presenting symbols to you, and it's kind of speaking to itself, right? You as the observer have to understand that each symbol has a meaning specific to you. So when you go online to these dream dictionaries and different websites like that, and they present you with different definitions of what it means when your teeth fall out in your dream, what it means when you're in school naked, you know, all these different things. Collectively, these do have certain meanings. For example, like if you see a snake or a serpent in your dreams, that usually has something to do with Kundalini energy or the subconscious mind, or both. But most other symbols are kind of specific to each person, right? For example, if as a child I went to the circus and I saw clowns, I loved them, they made me happy, they made me laugh, it reminds me of good times going out with my family. If I dream of a clown, it's going to have a positive connotation, right? Likewise, if you're one of these new kids who are terrified of clowns and you see a clown in your dream, it's not going to mean the same thing, because your definition of that symbol is different. So it doesn't really take a rocket scientist or, you know, you having to pay $50 for somebody to interpret your dream. Really what it takes is you doing the work that I've been talking about in all my videos and studying what each symbol means. Now there are tons of symbolic references and dictionaries out there that give you general definitions. Like one of my favorites is a Kabbalah Dream Dictionary. I don't really use it much anymore because it seems very biased, but any encyclopedia of symbols will do, right? That's why having encyclopedias of different gods and goddesses and herbs and crystals and symbols can be very helpful to you. They're not to read front to back, but whenever you have a question about something, you can have your own little personal magical Google library, right? Your own personal grimoire. But anyways, I've been doing this enough to know, for the most part, what these different symbols mean to me. So I thought what I would do is kind of share the dream that I just had and kind of break it down the way that I saw it. And hopefully this will help you as far as interpreting your dreams. Okay, so I'll run through it and then I'll go back and kind of pick out each symbol. Basically, okay, and also understand that you have a ton of dreams. You have a bunch of dreams. But usually when you wake up, you only remember 1, maybe 2 of them. Okay, now don't worry. Don't get upset that you forgot it. And don't be upset that if you try to remember it, it slips out of your hand like water, like sand. Just understand that what you do remember is what was important for your conscious mind. Your subconscious mind has it all already. Just remember that what you do remember is what was important. So I know that there was a ton that happened before this part of the dream, but this last part is what I remember. I remember arriving at this hotel motel condo type thing, right? And the first thing that I saw was my ex's sister's dog, who's named Kitty, right? So I see the dog leading me to the condo because I knew that if I saw the dog, my ex was there, because apparently I was looking for her. So I follow the dog and I make it to the condo, and I see inside as I'm passing, there's a few people inside. I see a little girl, I see my ex's sister, who is a mother, and an older woman confronts me at the door. She kind of blocks it off and stops me from going in. So I'm at the door talking to this older woman at this condo motel, and I'm asking her basically where my ex is, have you seen her? And she's like, yeah, she isn't here. She's out with Todd, some guy named Todd. And, I'm like, well, when is she going to come back? She casually mentions that they were making out, kissing and all this stuff at least 5 times. And it really seemed like she was trying to just make me upset, trying to push my feelings. And I could look inside and I could tell that those people were moving, like somebody was about to move out of that condo, I suppose. So they were all there helping them move. Meanwhile, my son comes running out from behind her and gives me a hug, right? And I hug him and I'm paying attention to him. But now because I'm worked up in my emotions, I'm trying to get more information out of this lady about this Todd character. I'm trying to casually pry, right? Getting caught up in the gossip, basically. As I walk away, my son's brother comes running out, and I give him a hug as well. Now see, the part that I skipped was before I got there, in the road, my mother was driving with me in the passenger seat, and my brother's in the back seat. So we drove to this condo and stopped in the middle of the road, and I got out and went to go check. So as I'm leaving, my son runs past me and he runs across the road by himself to get to the car to see my mom. And I start yelling at him, because, you didn't look both ways. You could have got hit by a car, da-da-da-da-da. And I go up to him. Yeah, basically I give him a spanking, right? Give him an ass whooping. With the anger and intensity that I'm still feeling from hearing the drama about my ex, right? Now, since I'm upset, I take it out on my son, right, in this dream. Now, as he goes to the car to see my mom in the driver's seat, I notice that on the ground next to him is a very large snake. And I try to scream at him to move away from it, but I'm so scared that the scream stops at my throat. I literally choke up on the words. I can't say anything. I'm frozen in fear. Eventually I break out of it, and I kind of tell him to get away from it, and he comes back to me. My mom and everyone sees the snake and they start freaking out. So she's trying to drive and run over it, and the snake is maneuvering through the wheels, not getting run over. And eventually the snake leaps up into the driver's seat window where my mom is and goes into the back. And now everybody panics, I panic, and I wake up, right? So the dream seems kind of random. I go to a hotel, I talk about my ex, I hug my son, I spank my son, there's a big ass snake. Seems like nothing. But embedded within that is a bunch of symbols, all right? No coincidence that, on my late night walk last night, I came across a baby snake for the second time. That always means something very powerful to me. That always represents a shifting in consciousness. It represents a new level of Kundalini type spiritual energy. But yeah. So I'll give you the first level breakdown. Somebody on the surface level will probably just look at this and say, oh, I'm having a premonition. My ex is seeing some dude, right? I gotta be careful with snakes. That's the basic, nobody knows what they're doing type of interpretation. But let's get down to it. Houses and homes usually represent the mind, right? Houses with many rooms, that represents the different chambers of the mind and the intellect, okay? Vehicles, cars, transportation, that represents energy, that represents how you choose to move throughout the world. Your mannerisms, your patterns, your lifestyle. That's what cars usually represent because it's traveling, right? Members of your family also represents different parts of your consciousness, right? Your brothers represent different aspects of yourself. Your sisters represent that. Your parents represent the left side and the right side of your brain. Coincidentally, my mom was on the left side and I was on the right side, passenger seat, driver's seat. So yeah. So, like I said, in the beginning of the dream, so I wrote this all down, which is important. After you have your dreams, wake up, the first thing you do is write these things down. Even if you don't understand what they meant, write them down, make a journal, because eventually when you start to go back, you will start to see patterns, and those patterns will start pointing you in the right direction. Same thing with people that are saying 1111 and 333 all the time. Follow these breadcrumbs because they're leading you somewhere. Alright, so first thing I see in this dream was a dog, right? Anubis. Anubis is the guide to the underworld. The underworld is the subconscious mind. So as soon as I get into this dream, I'm being led by a dog to where I'm supposed to be going. Now the hotel, motel, condo place, that represents the feminine mind, in particular the mind of my ex. So within this mind, again, we had the triple goddess, the girl, the mother, and the grandmother. And basically, what was going on is she was feeding me gossip to get me into my emotions, right? To take me from my logical, powerful state to my emotional, chaotic state. And I think it was being done with the intentions to manipulate me. So, again, this is a symbol to not get caught up in the bullshit because it's going to throw you off your course. Because my son was there. My son was there giving me a hug. And I should have been paying more attention to him instead of being focused on the gossip, right? So that's kind of like a warning, some advice to me, right? Stay focused on what's important. All right, furthermore, yeah, and also I was being distracted from true love, right? Because the bond between me and my son, that's actual true love versus me trying to get, you know what I'm saying, something from somebody else. That's not love. That's physical. That's temporary. That's not fulfilling. So when approaching the feminine mind, basically, come with the intentions for true love, not for manipulation. That's one of the things that the spirit was telling me in the dream. So my son running across the crossroad, right? The crossroad. Notice that the home, the condo, and the motel represents the feminine mind. Then you've got that crossroad. Then on the other side represents the vehicle, represented my mind, right? The car represented my mind. So we're dealing with two minds. Really, we're dealing with the left brain and the right brain, the logical and the creative, the masculine and the feminine, and the bridge between. My son represents the pineal gland, right? Just like Horus and Isis and Osiris. And he goes running across to my side. And I guess I feel a certain kind of way transitioning from emotion to logic. So I get very angry and yell at him not to cross the street. I go over and I give him a spanking. I give him a spanking because that represents my repressed and misplaced anger about the situation, all right? Taking it out on him in unproductive ways, right? Using my logical mind in an unproductive way due to repressed anger, which is why right now is a very important time for me and many other people when it comes to self-healing, self-love, self-acceptance, right? Because if you don't heal yourself, it's going to come out, and it's going to come out in a strange way, whether that's repressed anger and you lashing out on people, whether that's strange sexual desires, whether that's strange eating habits, whatever. You got to deal with the things that are bothering you because they're going to come out. Now, like I said, the snake represented Kundalini energy. With the pineal gland and my repressed anger and me taking it out the wrong way, that fire is also related to the rising of my Kundalini energy. Okay, that fire is also related to the rising of my Kundalini energy. Now, the thing that really got me was when I saw the snake and my son, which represents the pineal gland, approaching my mom in the left driver's side of the car, which represents my mind. When I saw him approaching that and the snake was near him, it wasn't really threatening him, but it was there. I went to go scream and I couldn't get it out of my throat. I was choked up, right? Kundalini energy, throat chakra, healing, heart. So what that represented was my energy is at the heart chakra, but I've still got work to do. I'm not ready to rise up to that throat level yet, right? Because I'm still blocked. Something is still blocking me, and I need to figure that out. right? So now my son backs away from it and the snake is still there, and my mom tries to run over the snake. That represents me trying to avoid, right? Trying to get away from, trying to defeat and resist this transformation, right? But it's just not working. The Kundalini energy is too slick. It's sliding around all these wheels, and eventually it just jumps in through the window, through the front window into the back seat, into the back of the subconscious mind, through the front of the logical mind, right? Windows usually represent the eyes. Probably guided meditation that I watched yesterday, right, represented, is what that was representing, basically. Interesting. So yeah, that was very profound for me. I usually don't interpret my dreams every night because it takes some time for me to sit down and dig and do all the research, because usually I'm busy doing a ton of other things. But something told me to go ahead and do this. Hecate has really been coming through strong lately, right? The feminine dark energy has been coming through tremendously lately. Alright, so for the past couple of days, I have been doing work, I have been doing rituals for the goddess Hecate. As a matter of fact, someone in the Magus Society asked for some help concerning uninvited guests, and I gave her a few rituals to do, very simple basic rituals to do with Hecate. And so far so good. But as I said in my last video, oftentimes when I help other people, I end up helping myself, because I'm saying things that I don't really think about. I just know them. Like, I can just spit out this information because it's all in my head. So I guess I need someone to kind of activate that energy and help it come out of me. Looking at that dream on another level, yeah, I just did a ritual for Hecate, right? Hecate, it says, is strongly represented by dogs, right? Not only that, Hecate strongly is represented by the triple goddess, right? 3 females. Let's see. She is also, it says here, her sacred site is the crossroad, right? Again, crossing the road. And one of the huge things that she's invoked for is healing, emotional healing, traumatic healing, dealing with emotional problems of the heart. So I think it's no coincidence that I've been working with Hecate and I have a dream like this. Or even that I released the video yesterday. Or that I even released the video a few days ago about the Little Mermaid. Check this out. Manifestations. Hecate, Queen Witch, is a shapeshifter supreme. Usual manifestations are as a black dog or a mature woman. She may manifest as a haggard, decrepit crone or a sexy, elegant, seductive woman. She even has an occasional mermaid manifestation. Yeah. I can't do this on purpose. I couldn't if I tried. By the way, this was Encyclopedia of Spirits by Judica Ilks, or Ills. Get your encyclopedias up. Encyclopedia of Symbols, Encyclopedia of Ancient Deities, Godwin's Kabbalistic Encyclopedia. They come in handy for times like this. But yeah, Hecate's coming through strong. If you're feeling it, do some type of ritual. I'm about to go eat something with a lot of garlic in it because that's sacred to her. Her time is nighttime. Anyways, that was a good example of how I interpret my dreams. And it also says Hecate speaks to you through your dreams. That's her main way of communication. But yeah, that's an example of interpreting your dreams. That's an example of working with Hecate. And I guess I'll keep you posted on any developments if anything happens. When something happens. If I'm willing to share it, because it might be very personal. Who knows? But yo, this is TK Trav, aka Travis Magus, here with LVX777. As always, peace. Get away from, trying to defeat and resist this transformation, right? But it's just not working. The Kundalini energy is too slick. It's sliding around all these wheels, and Kundalini energy is too slick. It's sliding around all these wheels, and sliding around all these wheels, and sliding around all these wheels, and sliding around all these wheels, and